Responsible persons for buildings should look to implement arrangements for vulnerable persons. Where possible, all occupants should be surveyed in respect of their ability to evacuate the building without assistance. In each case where a person is identified as being unable to respond to the evacuation signal and/or unable to evacuate without assistance, the responsible person should, subject to the cooperation of the person, agree a personal emergency evacuation plan. The aim of a personal emergency evacuation plan is to provide people who cannot get themselves out of a building unaided with the necessary information and assistance to be able to manage their escape to a place of safety, and to ensure that the correct level of assistance is always available. The level of evacuation resources must fully reflect a commitment to all of the personal emergency evacuation plans, as well as the general evacuation of the building. If it is evident that there will be significant difficulty in being able to evacuate vulnerable people, it may be possible to use a firefighter's lift if there's one available. If this is to be considered, the fire and rescue service should be consulted and the relevant people trained in its safe use. Assisting wheelchair users downstairs. Where disabled people are located above the ground floor, there are a number of considerations. In all the following cases, evacuation lifts, where available, or refuges, should be identified and clearly marked. Temporary refuges. A refuge is a place of reasonable safety in which disabled people can wait either for an evacuation lift or for assistance up or downstairs. Depending on the design and fire resistance of other elements, a refuge could be a lobby, corridor or stairway. Ideally, it should be enclosed in a fire-resisting structure, which creates a protected escape route that leads directly to a place of total safety, and should only be used in conjunction with effective management rescue arrangements. Disabled people should not be left alone in a refuge area whilst waiting for assistance with evacuation from the building. Lifts. Most lifts cannot be used in an emergency. Any lift used for the evacuation of disabled people should be an evacuation lift. The individual lift servicing contractor, or a specialist fire safety advisor, will be able to tell you if and in what circumstances a lift may be used in the event of a fire. Safe routes. A personal emergency evacuation plan should contain details of the necessary escape routes. Clear, unobstructed gangways and floor layout should be considered at the planning stage. It is especially important to ensure that security devices on doors, etc., are all able to be operated by the evacuating people. It is also necessary to ensure that there are as many as possible alternative routes and that the routes are not excessively long. Deaf and hearing impaired persons. Generally, most deaf people, if alongside people with hearing, will not require special equipment, providing they have been made aware of what to do in the event of a fire. They will be able to see and understand the behaviour of those around them. However, deaf or hearing impaired persons who are alone may need an alternative method of being alerted to an emergency. For example, many alarm systems have visual indicators in the form of a flashing light, or vibrating pager systems can be used. Blind and partially sighted persons. These people should be offered orientation training, and where applicable, this must include alternative ways out of the building. If a blind person uses a guide dog, it's important that the dog is also given ample opportunity to learn these routes. Training. To be effective, any emergency plan depends on the ability of people to respond effectively. They should therefore receive instructions, practical demonstrations, and training appropriate to their responsibilities. This may include some or all of the following elements: fire drills, specific training and instruction for nominated persons, for example, fire wardens, specific training and instruction in the use of fire extinguishers, etc.